And he talks about winning the Premier League. He's talking about potentially what happens in the future for Manchester United. So Jim Ratcliffe is talking about the next 3 years and Ruben Amorim proving himself over 3 years. It feels like a very long-term plan. Can they couple that with short-term improvement?
I'm not sure. Listen, I think it's well and good getting the backing off the club and the board, but results obviously have to improve. You hope, of course, any manager's given time. Well, he's got 3 years to play. It will depends how they do over the next few months, obviously. They have picked up a little bit. We said at the start of the season with a couple of attacking players, it looked like more of a goal threat. And particularly at home, they've improved their home record and they're on the back of a nice result at home to Sunderland, which I fully expect them to win. But the big test are still at games like today. What kind of group they have are going to turn up here today and show their quality going forward? Are they going to trying to grind a result out? Are they going to be physical? Are they going to put tackles in? So there's still huge question marks away from home. Yeah, they've picked up, but coming to Liverpool, a huge test for them. And there's still, I go back to it, huge question marks over this United group. I just don't see it at this moment in time. But the signs are a little bit better going forward, but you still worry about a midfield in terms of the physicality, and you worry about it defensively. And again, question marks still over, obviously, with the goalkeeper situation.
I just want to come in on those comments because I understand what the owner's trying to do. He's trying to quell the talk of the manager losing his job. So he comes out to defend his man. He talks about, a 3 year. He's got 3 years, but he almost doesn't help him by saying it because nobody believes it. Nobody believes for 1 minute that Ruben Amorim will be the manager of Manchester United in 3 years. If he'd have said, we've got no plans to change our coach over the next 12 months, I think we'd go, OK, maybe they could get to the end of the season, maybe things can improve, they can get someone in January. That would almost feel like a vote of confidence in that, quell the talk of the manager losing his job. But to come out and say 3 years, we all know that, as Roy's just said, if the results keep going as they're going, he's going to lose his job, unfortunately. So even though he's come out trying to help him, I don't think he has actually helped him with those comments in the end.
And even when he said that the press are making, making a meal of it every week, and Bruno Fernandes said it there, the players are hearing and watching all of this, and it feels, he said, like Manchester United are only ever one game away from a crisis.
But the results are making a meal of it, Kelly. That's the problem. When you've not won back-to-back games in the Premier League as Man United manager, you are coming under intense pressure. I think you could get any manager in any league in England. I'd fancy him to pick a team, this Man United squad, and you win back-to-back games. That would be the challenge. And it's not that it can't be that difficult, but he's making it look difficult every single week. Like Roy says, some weeks you watch and you think, yeah, there's glimpses here. They've got a chance. They've got some good players, good performances. Then it will just go back to the madness and the same substitutions. Forget the system. He ain't changing for whatever we say. But you can't not win back-to-back games as Manchester United manager and then say that he's going to still be there in 3 years. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not the real world. And also, if he's still there after a year and this is not changing, the fans will dictate that. They won't suffer it because they want to see change. They don't like the situation the club are in. They've got talent. They've got to do a lot better than what they're doing. But back-to-back games when you're the manager...
They probably have to back a bit more because he's their guy. It's not as if they've come in and he's somebody else's guy. So they're maybe saving face a little bit by saying we'll give them 2 or 3 years. But the reality is, if they're not winning enough football matches, and at the moment they're not, then there's absolutely no way he'll be there in 3 years' time. I know he's mentioned Arteta and stuff like this, but I think Arteta, did he win the FA Cup? He won the FA Cup, so he's something to hang his hat on.
They both got to a final, and Arsenal won it, which probably gave Arteta some grace. But it took until probably the 35th game for Arsenal, which was the win against Chelsea, that felt like it turned the tide for Arsenal and turned the tide in Arteta's favour.
Yeah, but there'd be a lot more pressure at Man United. Yeah,
this is Manchester United's 35th game today for Ruben Amorim. And if he wins this one, this would feel like a really big win.
Of course, after United come here today and get a result. Of course, then all of a sudden your perception would start changing, of course. But again, you have to go out and do the business. And I don't think any of us are sitting there believing Man United can come and win here today. If they can win it, fantastic. Then it'd be almost crisis for Liverpool. But for United, the jury's still out on them. So again, we can't sit here and what we're seeing and saying, oh yeah, I like the signs and I know where they're heading, and I'd fully expect them to be there in 3 years' time. Of course, if the results don't improve, we're on about even getting back-to-back league results. The stats this United team over the last year or two are like embarrassing. But they've picked up a little bit of home, and that's a start. But coming and winning at Anfield, that's a different animal.
But even with some of the players that have come in, with the players who've already established themselves, they have players who could exploit the weaknesses in Liverpool that you've
I believe.
talked about.
I certainly believe United have the attacking players to get at Liverpool today, without a doubt. But the other issue is Liverpool getting at United, with United's midfield and the physicality, and obviously defensively, United. We've seen him going to even Brentford recently, going to Man City, and every time he gets into a bit of an arm wrestle, United get beaten. So that's the challenge for United today. I think their attacking players can have a bit of joy in terms of getting space and creating chances and opportunities. But obviously part of football is defending your own goal. And that's where I think it could be a problem today.